Hello folks, this is Dave. I did a video about 3 weeks ago where I asked the question, which first baseman belongs in the Hall? And I threw out the names of 7 first basemen that had been passed by Hall of Fame voters in the last few years. And those are alphabetically Will Clark, Carlos Delgado, Steve Garvey, Mark Grace, Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, and John Olerud. And I did not include the likes of known steroid users, I believe known, Mark McGuire, Jason Giambi, and Rafael Palmeiro. So I asked for you to vote 1, 2, or 3 who you would put in the Hall of Fame if you were the voter. And we have a contest going on. Anybody who voted through last night, Sunday the 14th, is entered in the contest, and I took all your votes and tallied them up. And what we're going to do in a minute is give away 3 Martin DeHigo cards by Scott Reindeer Studios. Some of you may have these, but anyway, that's what we're giving away. So let's just summarize first, and then let's see what the votes were. So I showed this table in my previous video, one similar to this. Here I have all the players: Clark, Delgado, Garvey, Grace, Hernandez, Mattingly, and Olerud listed along the top. And along the sides are various offensive statistics here, some general statistics, and defensive statistics here. And what the green cells mean are those in which of these 7 players that player had the better stat or had accumulated more. So, and the orange then conversely are those players had the lowest. So, just for example, on WAR, Keith Hernandez over 17 years had 60.4 WAR, whereas in 19 years, Steve Garvey had a 38 WAR. So you can kind of see those players that had more green, in other words, leading these 7 players in those categories, and those players that had more orange, so they were at the bottom in those categories. And same holds true down here for the general stats. You can see that Garvey had more all-star appearances than the others. And then defensively, you can see here that Clark, Delgado, and Garvey kind of had some lower defensive stats, whereas Hernandez, Mattingly, and Olerud kind of were better defensively. So now in this table, I've added on to the original table. Here's the original table here on the right side. And on the left side, I've put recent Hall of Famers, first baseman. So Bagwell, Helton, McGriff, Murray, Thomas, and Tomei. And what I did here was I compared all of them. So these 7 plus these 6, 13 players got compared. And again, I did who led these 13 players in certain stats. So just simply here, Jim Tomei had 22 seasons played, Mattingly 14. Who had the highest WAR? Jeff Bagwell, 79.9, Steve Garvey, 38. And again, now let's just look for patterns. Here's the green stats, a lot of green stats over here. So in other words, they were better than a lot of the orange stats over here. So you can see Hall of Famers generally were higher than the ones that we're trying to find a Hall of Famer in. And maybe not so evident is over here where it's kind of back and forth a bit. Again, Steve Garvey had more All-Star appearances than anybody else. And then finally, defensively, kind of what stands out to me is that defensively, it didn't seem to be too important. Look at who is some bottom in the defensive stats. Not as good of fielders out there per the stats. And then again, Hernandez, Mattingly, and Olerud were a little higher. So again, maybe a pattern here. Hall of Famers, more green offensively, and our 6 or 7 that we're comparing, not as much. And then finally, I added on potential future Hall of Famers, those that have recently retired over the last 2 or 3 years. And you can see Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, and Joey Votto are over here. So again, I compared now 16 players. This 7, these 6, and these 3 were all compared. And again, the most seasons played, Tomei and Pujols, 22 years. Mattingly, of course, again, has the lesser years, 14. The highest WAR now, Albert Pujols. Garvey still, of course, on the bottom there. So if you look here, you can see that Albert Pujols is a no-brainer Hall of Famer, right? And look at some of the other stats here. Of course, I'm not doing second and third place, but you can see that that Miguel Cabrera has a lot here, Silver Sluggers and batting titles. Again, a lot of green here, a lot of green. And here we're seeing just a lot of orange over here. So of the stats that are in there, our 7 we're considering are probably not as good as even these over here and the Hall of Famers over here. And again, defensively, we're looking at these now. Now we've got maybe a little difference. We still got Hernandez and Olerud better over here. But over here, we've got Cabrera and Pujols kind of standing out a little bit more. Of course, these are all first base stats. Some of them played other positions, so only first base stats here. So that's why Cabrera played other positions, I think third base and some things, so he's not going to have as many errors at first base. Okay, folks, I've got the wheel of names here. I had 26 voters. 1 requested not to be in the contest, so I took his name out. That leaves 25 entries. Here's from the first vote I got, Barry, down to the last sports card ripping teacher, and everything in between. What I'm going to do is we're going to give away 3 cards. I'm going to shuffle 3 times, and then they will spin 1, 2, 3. Okay, click to spin. I guess this is it. So I'm going to click 3 times, stop every time, and I'll pick the winner here. So based on the wheel, let's see how this works. Okay, spinning around here. Who's going to be the first to receive a Martin Dihigo card? Justin, 3 good nerds. Awesome. Okay, so I think, yep, okay, it said to remove him. So Justin is a winner. Let's see who else is going to win the second card. Same card, Martin Dihigo. Jay Hawker. Mike, there you go. Remove Mike. Okay. And the last one, let's see. Oh, I'll do over here. For the last card, Third card, it's kind of fun actually. I should give away a bunch of more stuff. Cardboard and plastic. Congrats. That is it. Those who are winners, please send me your mailing address. My email address is in the description to my channel. Forget that. Why be so secretive? Here's my email address right here. We'll send these out to you as soon as I get your address. And what I should say is if you have this card and you would like to give it to somebody else, you just need to tell me that you want to give or donate your card to somebody else, and I'll need their address in lieu of yours. And then I'll send it on to them, saying that this is a gift from you. That makes sense? Thank you so much, everybody, for participating, leaving a comment, leaving your votes. I appreciate that. That was fun for me, and I hope interesting for you to see the results here. I hope you all have a great holiday season, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for watching. Y'all come back now. Here.